Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the latest developments in CCLAS and also talk about some of Datamine's other applications and support functions. Let me swap mics. Next slide. So those of you that haven't met me before, I do have a chemistry background. I used to be a customer, worked at Queensland Nickel in Townsville for about 10 years. Used CCLAS. I think we had used that there for about 6 years. Like a lot of our consultants, Dave, we do have consultants that have the chemistry background. Why is that important? Because we need to understand how laboratories operate if we're to configure the LIMS software to suit that. So I think next month we've been working with the product for over 15 years. So as a general manager, I look after the product globally through sales, consulting, support, R&D of the product. So travel and visit customers to sites. A picture of myself and a limb from our support team doing a tour of the processing plant at Nickel West Mount Keith. Even though they're on care and maintenance now, hopefully they'll come back. We did at the start of the year, one of our other products, production accounting, did this cool meme, and I thought, yeah, that's a really great idea. So I think it really summarises what we provide our laboratory customers. You know, the whole point of a LIMS is to make your life easier, right? So that laboratory staff can, improve the quality and efficiency of the business and then make their day-to-day life easier. So a lot of people that have been with us for a long time are used to the old strip menu, and as you saw with Artie's presentation, we've moved to a bit more of a fuller menu. If you are still using the version 2 application, we definitely encourage you to upgrade to version 3, and I'll show you a little bit later on. We've even just tweaked this interface a little bit better to make it a bit more modern and more user-friendly UI. So in terms of the roadmap, that new UI that I mentioned, it was available, we released that in January, version 3.052, and also had a new field control application. We've also released a version of our mobile app, which had our new CCLAS logo and different colour schemes. Version 2 of the application, we had a patch this month to help with the auto restart of Taskman and Online. So if that's a challenge for you right now, where you've got a remote server and sometimes the server goes down, we can configure that for you. So we're currently working on a new release of version 2.05. It's got a lot of a lot of fixes for MDE, Quote Wizard, scheme, tweaks on the installer, sample grid, reports, and language prompts. So that will hopefully be released in October. And December, we're working on version 3.06. It'll be the new C# application. So as you saw by the modern interface, we're moving away from a VB code base to C# for the interface. In December, also looking at adding some more features to the mobile app that will include GPS coordinates when sampling. So you'll be able to know where the sample was taken, also record a photo of where the sample's taken. And we're moving to an iOS version, or have an iOS version available. It's just Android at the moment. So some future candidates for 2026, we'll be adding some auditing functionality to the staff table, then be moving to the job audit application for modernise that with C#. There's been a number of requests for CCLAS to have a REST API for integration with other products. And there's many ways to do integration. Obviously, APIs are the new way to do it. So we'll certainly look at that. And again, we're always developing based on feedback from our customers. So if there's a demand from a customer and it's a requirement for a project, we will accelerate that in the development pipeline. Also, there was a request for the mobile app to do job sample and scheme validation, so we're looking at that. And in the next slide, I'm going to be talking about we're going to be advancing from VB6 to VB.NET for 64-bit for the core application, and then also moving from VBS to VB.NET for customization. So a little bit on that. Microsoft recently announced the retirement of VBS, and so we now have to look at how we do that. There's quite a long timeline. That's why we're starting it early and let our customers know early. So there's a little bit of a schematic there on CCLAS, but basically the scripts where we do all of our customizations are scripted in VBS. And we also need to move that engine as well away from VBS. So this is from Microsoft, the timeline for deprecation. So basically, as it stands now with the version with Windows 11, VBS scripting is available as automatically turned on. Around 2027, no dates just yet. That feature will be turned off by default, but it can still be enabled. And then sometime in the future, which is not defined yet, that will be the complete removal of VBS script from Windows, right? So we still got a fair bit of time, but it's important that we start that process. It will be starting in early 2026. So as I mentioned, that was the interface. That's the one that you would have seen some screen grabs from Artie. And now with version 3.05, we've kind of moved to, it's similar, but a little bit better in terms of the usability and the UI. So that's basically our new interface moving forward. As I mentioned, we're always keen to hear from our customers about ideas, right? What do you want to see out of the product? So, when we go to visit sites, we get that feedback, but, we can't always visit customers. So what we offer now is an ideas portal. So we've got what we call AHA. It's an application that we use to manage our R&D processes along with Jira. So we have the ability for our customers to log in via this website and input ideas on what they would like to see. So we have monthly meetings with the R&D team. So Rob, myself, David Early Harris, and Scott as well joins us, and we review those ideas and see whether that they're valid to put into our development roadmap. So if you, as a customer, if you're here now or you're listening online, if you do want to provide some suggestions and have access to this ideas portal, just email myself or support.cclas@dataminesoftware.com. We'll create an account for you, and we'd love to hear your feedback. And it's really the only way that we can make our product better. And just delving in to give you a little bit more of an idea of inside the product. So once you make an idea on the portal, then it comes up a list, and we kind of review all those, and you can start to see that we're really looking at how can we integrate AI features into our product. There's actually been a mandate recently from our parent company, Constellation Software, and all the way up to from the top of the board of directors have given us a mandate of each of the business owners to figure out how we can put AI features into all of our products. Okay. So we heard from Artie around running CCLAS on terminal services. So there are many configurations to run CCLAS remotely. A lot of people have asked, well, can we run CCLAS in the cloud? And the short answer is yes. We went through a lot of different POCs for this as well. So we actually used Azure via Citrix, and that actually worked perfectly. The problem was it was actually cost preventative in terms of the licensing costs, and also there was some security concerns with their IT platform from our IT team. We also tested CCLAS on AWS AppStream. So that's essentially running CCLAS in a browser while it ran okay, we did abandon this POC because, again, the cost model was like really confusing, and there was no integration to serial devices like balancers, so that's obviously really important for a lab. And there was also licensing issues around using Microsoft Office on that platform. Obviously, CCLAS uses Microsoft Excel for reporting purposes. So as we are part of a larger organisation called Constellation Software, we found one of our sister companies that have already been successfully using Amazon Workspaces. So that's the schematic that I'm presenting here to enable, to run on-premise solutions and deliver to our customers via the cloud. So one of the important things that I always say to people that ask for cloud, I said everyone wants to run everything on the cloud until they have to pay for the bill. Right, so as time rolls on and you've got to pay for the increased storage because your data is building, and the reliability. So Artie brought it up about having the internet go down. Right, so what we see from a lot of our customers, especially our mining customers that operate in remote regions, generally don't have that reliable internet. So generally, in most cases, that's why we're having an on-premise solution. That being said, we still have our web-based solution, which is CCLAS 6. It's really focused on large commercial laboratories like SGS, who are one of our biggest customers. They're migrating to our cloud-based system, CCLAS 6, or G6 as they call it inside SGS. But it does have a lot of tech debt. We are using Flash as a front end. Those people are aware Flash got deprecated in 2020, so we are using a Flash-enabled browser to continue that to operate, and we've undergone a very large project to migrate from the front end to HTML5. And why I say it's a large project, to give you a concept of that, it's CCLAS has about 5 million lines of code, CCLAS 6 I should say. Google Chrome has about 6 million, and they've got a much larger development team than us. So it is taking us some time to do that process, but we've started it already. So this is just the login page of the product. So we've done the main menu. We've upgraded the job application or profile for those people used to the CCLAS EL terminology. We've completed the upgrading of the reporting application. That's been done. The lab batch application's been completed. So as we go through more of these applications, there's a lot of shared functionality. So as we move along, actually the upgrading of each of these applications moves quicker and quicker. We've completed invoicing, that's been done. And the next application that we're going to be migrating to is the QC application. We've also completed another application. It's not HTML5, it's really, we looked at how can we improve the performance of CCLAS. So as you increase the data in a data set, obviously, over time performance is going to drop unless you've got ways to move that data out. How do we do that in CCLAS EL? We are archiving jobs out of the database and moving it into a file system to reduce the size. So with universal audit, what we found in CCLAS 6, about, I think it's 60%, isn't it, Rob, of the data that's in a job is really the audit trail. So we looked at a way of moving all of that audit data to a separate database, providing an interface using Elasticsearch, which is universal audit. So what it does is it enables a better searching process for universal audit, or for auditing purposes, I should say, and then improving the performance because we're moving that data outside of the Oracle database, which is the back end. As I mentioned, we're currently working on the QC application. This is just a beta of one of the screen grabs of the QC charts. We're also, and we've had this for a while now, but we've got a really large knowledge base. So all of our help files are now sitting on this knowledge base, and we've got a lot of FAQ videos. So we're continually adding to this. And if you don't have application, or you don't have the this link, just reach out to me, or again email support.cclas@dataminesoftware.com and we'll send you the link. So basically the first FAQ series was all about, you know, some common things that we saw that came up regularly in our support tickets, right? So for example, you know, how do I add a new staff member to CCLAS EL, right? So we recorded a little video about that. And so, you know, our customers can go in and kind of self-service and figure out how to do that. Then we also created a bunch of back to basic videos about our core applications and how to do various things like, how do I create a new job template from scratch? Okay. And you can see a bunch of other applications that we also created videos for as well. So then we also did some training videos on our Velox configuration. So that's what we installed at the Regis Resources that Artie and his team are using. So Velox is really just stands for Rapid in Latin. It's a pre-configured version of CCLAS that allows us to deploy to our mining customers in a quicker manner and a lower cost. But on top of that, we've added this full functionality. So, you know, it gives our mining laboratories and commercial laboratories, you know, start to finish to be able to, you know, operate their workflow. So again, we'll be adding some more videos. If there's a video that you want created, just let us know. We're happy to do that. We're running regular webinars as well. So we've already done a webinar on our mobile app, our client web portal, our integration with Fusion, which is Datamine's geology data management system. And just recently we did with Rob Chapman a webinar around laboratory audits. So just on that, you know, we are here to service our customers while we sell software. We provide this extra service to our customers. So our laboratory audits look at safety, quality, method consistency, you know, equipment, costs and staffing. Really the benefit to our customers by having laboratory audits is to identify those, you know, you're using your correct methodologies, identify any gaps and review safety and any inefficiencies, and ensuring that your laboratory is following regulatory and compliance standards. And then, you know, really at the end of it, what a laboratory audit does is it enhances your confidence and your customers' confidence that your data that you produce out of your laboratory is accurate and reliable. So generally, it'll be, you know, there'll be an initial site visit. It might be between 3 and 5 days, depending on how big your lab is and the processes that we need to review. We then come back to the office, produce an audit report. We then present that to the customer, and then have a follow-up meeting after that's presented to check, you know, whether there's inquiries or progress, and then probably then later follow up again at a predefined time to schedule another audit or review to make sure those processes that we identified in the audit are actually implemented. Also, we released in November last year the new Datamine customer portal. So what that allows our customers to do is get support in one central place. So manage your support tickets, download any software versions, and then future updates. We're looking at putting in some of that training that I showed you in the knowledge base, and also having kind of a resource library. So as well as training. And speaking of which, and that S has already touched on it. So tomorrow, some people are joining us for the CCLAS certification training. And that actually came from the 2024 symposium. It was feedback from Artie. He said, wouldn't it be great if we had CCLAS certificate training? He said, that's a great idea. And so with the help of Amir, one of our UK consultants, he had some time to put that all together. So with review from Dave and Pras, one of our Indonesian consultants, we are now ready to launch that. So really, the benefits of that is, it's no extra cost to our customers. It's included as part of your maintenance. It becomes standardized training, so everybody gets the same training. Now, it is only on the standard modules, and we know each site has customized training or customized modules, which is a separate training, but at least you get the core application training. So that's important because as you said, Artie, it's the terminology that they need to understand, right, which helps your team be more efficient. And again, it's faster onboarding for your new hires. Well-trained staff are likely to make less mistakes. And the online accessibility, so what we will be doing is it will be an online training that all of our customers can access. They can do it at their own pace and at their own schedule. From start to finish, it's about 2.5 hours, and that's split up into different modules. And then at the end of the training, you get a nice little certificate from Datamine, signed by me. That then, as Artie mentioned, you can add that to your resume, because in this day and age, if you're looking to move into the chemistry field, it's important that you've had exposure to LIMS. So as I said, Dave is running that course tomorrow. So if you'd like to attend, it's not too late. Please come and have a chat to me or Dave, and we can get you registered on that course. So I think we Mohammed talked about system integration, and we know that interoperability is really important to our mining customers. As there's no point in having a great turnaround in your lab if you can't send that data anywhere to other external systems. So geologists, metallurgists, and operators can actually act on that data and make change in the mine or processing plant. So obviously, we've got integration with some of our Datamine products like Mindscape, which is a mine planning system, Mine Market, SIP, sales, logistics and materials tracking, production accounting, which is a metal accounting solution, and Fusion, I mentioned, which is a geology data management system, and also Centric. So Brad's actually going to be doing a presentation after lunch on Centric Analytics, which is a really great addition and has helped a lot of our customers in terms of reporting on their data. So obviously we've also done with other common plant systems like OSI Pi, which is now part of Aviva. It's a common plant historian that we've integrated through the CCLAS Historical Database, or CHD as we call it. So we associate Pi tags to our sample data that Pi can pick up. We also integrate to Acquire, which is a part of our sister company, or part of Constellation Software. It's similar to Fusion. It's another geology data management system. And also other plant information systems like Honeywell, and we've just recently finished an integration with Exaquantum. Again, we've integrated through CHD via some from Taskman scripts. And then obviously, we're working with the Rock Labs team for at Amaral, and Dave spent some time working with the Rock Labs team. Automation, robotic automation, it is the future of laboratories. We will be seeing more and more of that as Mohammed pointed out about safety and staff and quality, all those things that are really important to laboratory. That's why it makes robotic automation more attractive. So we've also been working on a new integration called B2MML. It's a new integration model that's part of Industry 4.0. It's an XML integration model established against the ISA 95 standard. So basically it dictates a set of XML schemas that can be used by all enterprise systems like LIMS, ERP, supply chain management systems, and other control systems. So both CCLAS and Mine Market are now using the most up-to-date version, I think, which is 2020. We did this in collaboration with the ERDI team that are based in Perth. So we'll actually be doing a podcast with them about this integration method. So stay tuned on LinkedIn for that podcast. And just to give you an overview, we've got MindMarket, which creates the samples, moves an XML file into a message broker, which is ActiveMQ, which is an open source message broker, moves into the inbound queue. That is then, that scheduled event is then picked up by a B2 MML monitor, and that XML file is then registered in Taskman that creates a job. Then obviously you're analysing your samples on the instrument, it creates a data file, Samana or online captures that data, pulls that into CCLAS, and then we've got to push it back out again, goes through to another XML, through Taskman, back through the B2 MML monitor, back into the outbound queue, and then back into MindMarket. Okay, so we'll be presenting that, and we're actually implementing that right now. Dave and Tong are implementing that right now at MRL. So we'll be informing the market of that, like I said, with our podcast. Just looking at the time, we're running a little bit over, but that's okay. So we've got the client web portal that I mentioned. It's available to all our customers. Allows you to register samples on your customers to register samples on an interface, check the sample status, and also download reports. So basically, it allows your clients, whether it be internal to your lab, internal to your mine site, or external to the lab in case of a commercial laboratory. So once the client registers samples, they get an email to say they've registered them. It also gives an email to the lab to say you're going to get samples turn up. Once they've turned up, as the samples are analysed, that status is updated on the website in near real time. And like I said, then you can download the reports and search for the status of your jobs. So what it creates is a self-service platform for your clients. So they shouldn't need to call you or email you about your sample analysis, so making your clients self-sufficient. We've got the CCLAS mobile app, which I mentioned. So it's an Android app, and what we really see is the biggest impact is for tracking of samples that are taken in the field. The app automatically records who takes the sample and at what date and time. And again, given mine sites are in remote locations with poor or no phone reception, it has an offline capability and allows users to store information about the samples they are taken even if they have no mobile phone reception. And then once users are back in either mobile or Wi-Fi reception, you can transmit that data back to CCLAS. So you've got the ability to scan QR codes for samples to improve the sample integrity, making sure you have the correct samples put into the right bag. When also taking maybe plant samples on a processing plant, you could use a QR code on the tank to make sure field staff are taking the correct sample at the right location. And we also have the ability to add extra sample details, whether you want to score weights or any other information. The mobile app can store as much detail as you want to give you that visibility on your samples and your samples progressing from sample preparation all the way through instrument assay, through to sample storage. So really just helping ultimately improve your sample turnaround and times and sample integrity. Okay, so that's the end of my presentation.